What's going on YouTube? So all the Volvo crossovers are quite popular. However, it's their middle child, the XC60, which actually takes home the sales crown. Now for 2022, Volvo is making some pretty substantial updates to their bestseller, with changes inside and out, plus new mild hybrid powertrains. So with these revisions, is this the Volvo crossover to get? Let's find out what's new and answer that question. Alright, so kicking things off here with the exterior. For 2022, with the new mild hybrid powertrain options for the XC60, Volvo wanted to kind of signify that with making some very slight changes to the front design. So I'll show you what that is right now. So if you take a look here, it looks mostly the same, but you'll notice we have basically this little accent over here, which looks a bit different, as well as this element. You know, just a little something to show you that it is new, and you'll see a few more changes throughout the rest of the exterior. Now, as far as the grille finishes, this is the same design as it was before. On the Momentum, it's going to be blacked out like what you see here. On the R design, you have the black mesh, and then the inscription will come with the chrome bars. And then coming over here and taking a look at the headlights, these will also carry on unchanged for 2022. That's definitely a positive thing because these are really nice looking full LED headlights with standard adaptive abilities, that signature Thor's hammer daytime running light and turn signal, plus you also will find standard LED fog lights down here at the bottom. So as we come over here to the side design, you're going to notice some updates with the wheel options. So the XC60 continues to offer a ton of different selections, starting at 18 inches and going all the way up to 21 inches. Most of those designs are going to be updated for this 2022 model year, including what you see here with this kind of gray finish. It looks a little bit different than what you had last year. And as we rise up here to our mirrors, these will continue to come fully loaded on every single version of the XC60. So that means you'll have heating, power folding, auto dimming, and blind spot monitoring. Now here at the side, Volvo hasn't changed a lot, but that's not to say they haven't changed anything, because you're probably noticing this right here. We have black roof rails, and that's actually going to be standard on every single XC60 now. So it does give you a little bit of contrast from the chrome trim around the windows. Now, walking around to the rear, they actually have changed quite a bit with this design. Now you might be noticing that right off the bat, but I will go ahead and talk about the other design elements first. So we do still have our Volvo script across the back, and we're also going to have these signature Volvo taillights. These are going to be full LED. I'm a really big fan of the way these look. They have the LED turn signal and reverse light. And then dropping down, this is where you're going to see all of your changes. As you can tell, there are no exposed exhaust pipes for the 2022 XC60. That's going to be on all of them, and they do have this slightly different rear diffuser design that is fully body color. And you're also going to notice we have the new B5 badge. Now for 2022, Volvo has also slightly updated the safety system. So they've said, quote unquote, they upgraded these sensors. So I don't know if that's for future capabilities or whatnot, but nothing is really different with the actual equipment level, since you're going to have 3 out of 4 of them standard equipment. So that's the forward emergency braking, lane keeping assist, and auto high beams. And then you have optional adaptive cruise control. Well, everyone, that is going to conclude the exterior design of this 22 XC60. Now let's go ahead and hop on the inside, where they have actually changed more than you would think. Then we'll take it out in a spin. But before we do all of that, we would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. Also, like and leave us a comment. So walking up to the 2022 XC60, you will find a standard smart entry system. And there has been an update to the key fob design. You'll notice this is actually made of plastic. That's because Volvo has discontinued the leather key fobs across the entire lineup for 2022. You do have access to remote start via the on-call app. Now to get inside the vehicle itself, of course, just reach behind the handle. It will unlock. And opening up the door and taking a first peek inside of the cabin. You're not going to notice a ton of changes visually. However, once you actually get inside the cabin, start messing around with stuff, you'll notice there's a lot more changes than what initially meets the eye. Now, talking about your different interior color and material options next, for 2022, you do have a standard premium textile seat on the Momentum trim level. However, we have the optional real leather seats for this example. And then your R design will come with a Napa leather and grid insert type of seat. And then the inscription, of course, comes with the full Napa leather with all of the choices in color, including blonde, charcoal, maroon, and amber. Now turning over here to your door trim, it is nicely finished. You're going to continue to find leather across the armrest as well as the area above it. All this will, of course, be soft touch. And then you do have standard two-person memory seating and the nice metal speaker grills with the Harman Kardon sound system. As far as the windows, they're going to be one-touch auto up and down for all four. And then dropping down here to our seats, we have the standard seat, which is going to be a 10-way power adjusting seat with the 2-way lumbar support. If you choose R design or inscription, that's going to add in power adjusting bolsters as well as a power thigh extension. And then, like I was mentioning, we do have the real leather. Of course, this being a Volvo means the seats are super nice, very ergonomically sound, and incredibly comfortable. So the XC60 has always had a very nice cabin as far as your materials are concerned, and that does carry on for 2022. So this being the Momentum, we have a soft touch plastic across the upper dashboard. The other two trim levels will come with the tailored dashboard, which will have a leatherette and more stitching details. Nevertheless, as we move down, we have some more of this genuine wood trim, which bends all through here and comes around in seemingly one continuous piece, which looks very nice. Soft touch materials through here. You've got more wood that runs through here, though you don't have any type of leather padding along this console. Now, to start it up, you continue to put your foot on the brake and twist this button here on the dashboard. And right off the bat, you're going to notice one of the key changes for 2022, and that's the fact that this XC60 has switched to Volvo's new Android Automotive OS infotainment system. And with that switch, it does also have the upgraded 12.3-inch gauge cluster, just like what we saw in the XC40 Recharge model. So what this basically is just a more vivid display. Certainly stands out and has a lot less glare and lag than the outgoing generation of this gauge cluster. Additionally, you do have some extra features, although since we wanted to get you guys this review as quickly as possible, we have gotten this vehicle before it has the full official software, so we are missing a few features. So we can't, for instance, pull up the full map display, but you can see kind of how that would look when you put it in the full screen map. It does have some cool functionality. Now, if you chose the advanced package, that's going to also throw in a head-up display. And then coming back here to the steering wheel, we continue to have Volvo's typical steering wheel with electric power assisted steering. Of course, you can get the two-tone steering wheel if you prefer. We have the full black option, of course, nicely leather wrapped. As far as the wheel itself, it is going to be manual tilt and telescoping. We also have the optional heating via the climate package. Let's go ahead and roll on over here next to our storage. So we still have the same center console, and inside you'll find plenty of space. Definitely a decent size. We do have a felt lining on the side, a rubber lining on the bottom, which you can remove and clean. Nice touch. Additionally, you're going to find two USB Type-Cs. Those are new for 2022. They replace the older style Type-A. And we'll get our coupons out. We'll stick them in there. Alright, looks like those are going to fit. No problem. Now up in front of that, you can slide this big piece of wood back to reveal your two cup holders. You do now have a standard wireless phone charging pad right there for 2022. And then you got your 12-volt outlet underneath of that cup. Now, if you're familiar with the XC60, you will notice that this is actually a different shifter for 2022. It used to have a physical shifter. We're now moving to an electronic style and has a unique design where the center is hollow. So this operates like the XC40, so you actually have to double tap to get into drive, and you can tap back once more if you want to shift manually, though there are no paddle shifters on the steering wheel. Double tap up to go into reverse, and when you do, you will be greeted with this standard backup camera, of course with rear parking sensors as well, and active trajectory. If you choose the advanced package, that is going to throw in the 360-degree camera system as well as the automated parallel and perpendicular parking system. And then for park, you're just going to press the P right behind the shifter there. You will also notice that the drive mode controller, the previous roller, that is no longer here. To adjust the drive modes, you'll do that inside of the main display. Okay, so now let's go ahead and look up next at our audio controls. So you still have your physical controls located right there, and you've got the same sound systems as well from last year. So we have on this specific example the optional 600 watt 14 speaker Harman Kardon sound system, which is standard on the other two trim levels. And we're going to go ahead and give that a sample right now. And then let's get into our changes up here at the display. So the display itself continues to be 9 inches, mounted portrait style. However, there are plenty of changes to the software. So like I mentioned, this is now running the Android Automotive OS software. So it's a totally different infotainment system than last year's Census. And inside of this system remains things like your climate control. So we'll take a look at that first. You have a standard dual zone automatic climate control setup on the XC60. The R design as well as the inscription are going to come standard with a 4-zone automatic climate control setup, but you can still make adjustments to different things right through there. We do have our fan speeds down there. Of course, you can adjust your temperature right here by increments of 2. And then over here is where you'll find your settings for the 3-stage heated seats, which are standard on R design and inscription. We also have the heated steering wheel, and then you can get ventilated seats on the inscription trim level. The big difference is, though, we have all of these Google apps that are built right into the system. So you notice this here is Google Maps. So you have the full power of Google Maps, including the live traffic, stuff like that, built right into the display. And another great feature of this system is the fact that it has the Google Assistant built in. So you can just press the button on the steering wheel to launch straight into that, or you can also say, "Hey Google, call Mason."
Calling Mason.
So you have the full fluidity of that, which is frankly a lot better than what most automakers have as their built-in setup. Now taking a look up here at the top, we do have an auto dimming mirror with our universal remote on the bottom of it. And then coming up to the top here, we still have the same standard panoramic moonroof, which is a very nice touch. However, one thing that's new this year is that we have a swipe sensitive control here. So you're actually going to swipe back on that, and that's what's going to open up this sunshade here. So that's one small little detail change, but I think it just kind of makes things feel a little bit more high tech. And as you can see, this is a very large piece of glass which does open up in the front panel.
Alrighty guys, so come join me in the XC60's rear seat. Now, as far as this is concerned, I have to say, first impression's a really, really good one. It has a lot of space for the segment. We're going to have 38 inches of both leg and headroom, which does place it above the vast majority of stuff in this segment, like the Audi Q5, the Mercedes-Benz GLC, and behind rear seating position, you can definitely tell that I would say 8 inches of legroom, and my feet have just acres of space to slide up underneath of this seat. Now, they also have thrown in quite a few nice features as well. So up here on the top, we have 3-stage heated rear seats, even on this Momentum trim level that is optional. Also, I want to point out this little hole right here would be 4-zone climate control on the higher end models like the R Design and Inscription with the optional package. And then if we drop down below that, we have 2 charging USB-Cs. And then as far as our vents, they're going to be located here on the B pillar, which I quite like. We also have some lighting up top. Then if we fold down the center armrest, it does have pop-out cup holders in the end, and also a little storage cubby, so we can maybe fit a few coupons back here as well. Walking up to your tailgate, Volvo nicely throws in a hands-free Power 1 standard across every XC60. So in order to open it, just wave your foot under the bumper. As you can see, it does work quite well as well. Now, as far as your spaces back here, we have 22 cubic feet behind the second row seats. If we fold them to get the maximum, that's going to go all the way up to 63 cubic feet of space, which does once again place this on the very large end of the segment that bests the Audi Q5, the Mercedes-Benz GLC. So you're certainly going to appreciate the space that this XC60 has on board. Now, the features they've thrown in, we have a cargo cover up top. We can fold the seats. They're going to be 60-40 split folding seats. And then if we lift up the cargo floor, there is a spare tire up underneath of there. The passenger seat over here will be power adjusting, and we are even going to keep the power lumbar support. Then if we open up the glove box here, this is, wow, I mean, this is coupon heaven right here. Holy moly, this is a big glove box. It's nicely felt lined. We have LED illumination, and I mean, honestly, this is one of the biggest glove boxes I've ever seen. It swallows the coupons up, and we could probably put 20 more stacks of coupons in there. That is very impressive. And up top, we do have a sun visor, we have LED lighting, a mirror, and we can detach the visor, however, we cannot extend it.
A little bit of a red light there to spoil the fun, but certainly feels quite spunky.
Yeah. And you hear the little turbocharger.
Yeah. So, of course, the big news, and now it's time to actually talk about it, is the new mild hybrid powertrains. So you have B5 replacing T5, and what that basically is the same engine as last year, a 2-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, but we're now adding a 48-volt mild hybrid system inside of that. And that's going to make a total system power of 247 horsepower, 258 pound-feet of torque. That's actually down very slightly from the outgoing model, but of course now this all just works together to make a more seamless feel. Additionally, you have B6 replacing T6. That's going to add a supercharger to the same setup.
295 horsepower for that and 310 pound-feet of torque. So we'll see if the powertrain configurations continue. Previously, T6 was the most popular thing I saw on the lot, so maybe that will continue, and then you'll have a very high power output for this segment of vehicle.
Correct. And you can still get the recharge model, which will be a plug-in hybrid model that has its own individual range and the most power, I believe 420 horsepower.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So you got a lot of different options, and these are basically just enhanced for 2022. From behind the wheel, you're not going to notice a ton of changes. The power feels pretty much the same. One of the biggest differences is just going to be enhanced auto start stop. So when we come to a full stop, you'll see that in practice, and we'll show you what that is like. But generally speaking, this is just something that enhances fuel economy really without you even knowing that it's happening. So the engine is now off. I had to actually look and see that it was off, and we'll see how quickly it restarts here. Wow.
Yeah.
That's spectacular.
Yeah.
You don't feel a thing at all.
I wouldn't have known if it wasn't dead silent
smooth
in this cabin that I could hear just the slightest noise of the engine restarting. I wouldn't have heard a thing. Also, I want to point out that it stayed off for a really long time as well. So this mild hybrid helps with that as well. Some of those vehicles with auto start stop, they turn off and back on in 10 seconds, and I don't really see the point of that. This one actually stays off, so you're actually going to be saving fuel. Now, we were talking about the benefits of the mild hybrid when it comes to the auto start stop and all that, and that does of course benefit your fuel economy. So the B5 all-wheel drive, which is what we have today, is rated at 22, 28, 24 miles a gallon combined, and then it's going to be the same actually combined rating for the B6 model, so you're not going to lose any fuel economy for going for that higher powered option. And it is worth noting that is a 1 to 2 mpg increase depending on the trim level. Combined, yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the other aspects of the powertrain situation, like our transmission. So we do have an 8-speed automatic transmission on board. This is the same as last year, remains very smooth transmission. I really have no objections to it. It just kind of blends into the background. It fits well with the luxury feel of this model. As far as your wheels putting the power down, you're going to have standard front wheel drive when you choose the B5 model, optional all-wheel drive, and then the B6 model will come standard with all-wheel drive. And this would be a good time to go ahead and talk about today's slam dunk and airball. So I'll start with the slam dunk, and that's going to be just kind of broadly 2022 updates. I think what Volvo has done have really been nice upgrades. The mild hybrid is just really just adding to your powertrain refinement, fuel economy, auto start stop. It's really just improvement overall. And then I really appreciate as well the improved technology with the Android Auto OS, as well as the improved gauge cluster. These are just nice additions that just improve on the overall nice formula.
Yeah. Now, as far as our airball is concerned, they did switch out one thing that we are not a huge fan of. That's going to be the shifter. We don't like the operation of it. We've complained about it in previous Volvo reviews, like the XC40. It's just kind of stupid to have to bump back twice, and I don't know, you never use neutral, so why wouldn't you make that the hard one to do? Alright, and we can go ahead and discuss the pricing information for the XC40. It's going to increase around $1,000 for the 2022 model year, so not a ton for all these upgrades. The Momentum's going to start at $42,650, R-Design $48,800, Inscription $50,150, and that is for the B5 front-wheel drive combination. This one with some of the equipment on it is going to be coming in at $51,855 once you add in the $1,095 destination charge. Alright, let's go ahead and get our sun level reading. Looking at 56.4 decibels, going 55 miles per hour. It's a very solid reading, and just overall this XC60 is a very, very comfortable product. It's comfort focused more so than even the Germans, so you're just going to have very quiet, luxurious experience with awesome seats.
So overall, the 2022 XC60 really seems like a nice upgrade. They really, like we mentioned, they made upgrades in the right places that really enhance this overall experience for a vehicle, mind you, that has always been one of our favorite compact luxury crossovers. It's a very strong competitor, and now it is even stronger this year.
Well guys, that's going to wrap up our in-depth review of the 2022 Volvo XC60. If you made it this far in the video, hopefully that means you enjoyed the video, found it helpful, or at least liked me or something along those lines. So be sure to help us out by hitting that subscribe button down below. It's completely free to you, and all it's going to do is give you notifications on our most recent content, so please be sure to do that. Also tap the notification bell, leave us a like and a comment, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.